Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week 2 of season 2 of EGFH in Rocket League. Today, we are live with games from our Connecticut region. We're starting this season with games between the Woodstock Academy Centaurs and the Notre Green Knights. I want to thank our sponsors, the Yukon Gaming Club, the Yukon School of Engineering, and Mob Crush for making this season possible. My name is Kevin Navik Dignan, and for this season, I'm joined by Nick Vodable and Brozik.
How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to get back into this. Obviously, last week we didn't get to cast because all the teams couldn't make it. But now we're getting back into it, back into the season.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, it'll be good. And of course, we've got on the blue team the reigning champions from last season, the Woodstock Academy Centaurs, and on the red team, the Green Knights. So what do you think, Nick? What from last season's performances, how do you think this is going to go?
Well, from last season's performances, you really can't bet against the Centaurs. But they have some new players, as we were speaking before this all started. They lost two of their big hitters. We had Balzabar leave, and now we have Baba Baggins and Airspeed. Crazy MS returning from the last season, though. He was kind of the defensive role for their team, but we'll see exactly how he performs this time. Maybe going to be the point man for their squad instead.
Yeah, I mean, he does have the most experience in the season, like you just said about him playing last season, and we saw him with plenty of attempts in striking it out. But that was a goal from Tekos there, and obviously on the side of the Green Knights, I want to say they've also got two new players, right? Pogo Logo was there last season.
I think they might have had Untitled, but he didn't play too much last season as well. So Tekos seems to be the most new one.
Yeah, but I mean, he's already starting off the season strong there with a goal within the first 30 seconds, and Airspeed just getting another one, bringing it to 1-1. That was that straight off the kickoff.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of living up to his name a little bit there.
Yeah, Airspeed there.
But a great way to start things off for both sides. Not too fortunate for the Green Knights there after getting a kickoff goal scored against them, but it just resets everything. Tekos just has to do another strong push towards the other end, and it might work out well for them. We'll see exactly what happens.
Yeah, and again, it looks like by the side of it at the moment, Untitled seems to be that kind of defensive player like you were saying Crazy MS was last season, but this time for the Green Knights. And as I say that, a lovely pass from Tekos, and Untitled managed to get that nice little aerial into the goal.
That was a great pass, and saw both defenders couldn't get in position in time. And Untitled just popped it right over top of them, securing the lead. And we haven't really seen too many leads secured against the Centaurs. Maybe this new squad isn't as up to par as the last season's Centaurs were.
Or it might just be that, you know, the Green Knights have been practicing since last season, got a couple new players, and are just performing really, really well. And I think it's too early in the season to quite tell what's happening at the moment.
Yeah, only time will tell, depending on how the rest of the games in the season go between the competitors. And once we get towards those playoffs, we'll know for sure exactly how the teams are faring against each other. But no, Baba Baggins tried to secure that goal, bounced right off of him instead and out from the net. Could have easily equalized instead.
Yeah, hit that top left corner and just went straight out there. That was very unfortunate. And again, we're seeing a lot of, like you were saying, the Centaurs, you couldn't really bet like against them last season, but as it is right now, the Green Knights have their lead and they seem to be keeping it fairly well.
Not even 2 minutes gone yet. We've already had 3 goals scored in this one. Centaurs facing more pressure than they did the entire season last time.
Yeah, and for once we're starting to see... I was going to say, for once we're starting to see opposing aerials compared to last season where the Centaurs just dominated the air.
So it might be a little bit of what you mentioned, that the Green Knights have been practicing. They've had some time off, so they have plenty of time. As my that wasn't my phone, someone's phone went off in the background. But some great possession so far by the Green Knights. They're evened up in shots across the board, but they've had the ball in the Centaur side for the majority of this game. And even though the Centaurs got a few shots, it was right towards the defense, so it hasn't really amounted to too much just yet.
Yeah, there's nobody. Oh, I was just about to say that it didn't look like anybody was there, but I actually just didn't see Crazy MS and all the blue lines.
So who are
again,
you really looking for on the Centaurs to try and be the main goal scorer from what we've seen so far in this game? Like we
it's
saw
hard to say.
Crazy Mess go for a few shots, but it didn't really work out too well.
Yeah, we don't know the current structure of them, right? Because from last season, Crazy MS seemed to like he wanted to play a bit more up front, but was always stuck into that like behind defensive position because of Dan and
Balzabar.
Bowserbar. There you go. And so it's interesting seeing him try and take a bit more of an aggressive position. But we saw currently the only goal on the side of the Centaurs is to airspeed with that opening kickoff. So again, I think Crazy MS is one to keep his eyes on, but I wouldn't neglect to pay attention to the other two either, as like we don't know their current skill level or their abilities. Like airspeed there, get a nice little tap, and Pogo Logo almost scoring into his own goal.
Very explosive.
Oh, there we go. They're finally able to secure another goal to tie things up. The defense was kind of waiting a bit too long on that one. Pogo Logo missed the ball, gave Baba Baggins, very hard name to pronounce,
Yeah.
open opportunity, and he secured it.
Yeah, and he secured it, he did it, and he evened it out with 1 minute left on the clock. So, I mean, that's the important thing here now because we could be going into overtime.
Great touch by Pogo Logo. We've kind of seen a shift in the possession game where the Centaurs, they weren't given much space, but now whenever they get it on their own side, they just hit it right back, try and gain control. And that's where the Green Knights have to worry about the Centaurs team, because you can't give them that much space or else they'll just run away with it, as we almost saw right there. Barely able to get the save.
Very close. Although it seems that my Rocket League has crashed.
Well, I guess I'll carry on while we wait for him to boot things back up. 18 seconds left on the clock for either the Centaurs or the Green Knights to come out on top. Pogo Logo with a shot. Baba Baggins, it'll leave that for Crazy MS, who's had a few shots on net and a few saves as well, but neither of them have found the mark to get past the defense. That one almost got past two defenders, but now we're reaching overtime for the first game of this series. So we'll see exactly how either the Centaurs or the Green Knights gets the upper hand. Baba Baggins with the miss, Crazy MS with the touch towards the left side. They do manage to keep it in the midfield for a moment. As Airspeed gets a touch, Tekos patiently waiting for that one. Bounces it off the corner and baits out one of the attackers. Manages to get it past him, almost gets a bump as well. They get it to the blue side. Now trying to push forward and set something up for themselves. But barely off towards the corner, and now another chance for Crazy MS. Gonna take it forward. Block out two defenders, keep it in their side, but still not enough accurate shots towards the net to secure anything just yet for the Centaurs or the Green Knights. So for the new people that aren't quite familiar with Rocket League, when an overtime occurs, that's when two teams are evened up on the scoreboard, so 2-2, 1-1, 3-3, or even 0-0 in some cases. After it gets to overtime, the clock keeps going up, counting until the final goal is scored, which is a golden goal opportunity. So whoever scores the first goal in overtime wins that match, and that'll be the one who go up in the series. So whoever gets the first goal in this overtime, and the only goal, will be the one to get the victory, at least in this game, as I think we have had Navik rejoin us on the field.
Yeah, I am back now. I was just waiting for you to finish that before I started saying anything. So yeah, so whilst I was gone, obviously now we've gone into overtime. So what do you think is going to happen with this play? That I agree. Oh, that was a nice.
Okay, that might have been it.
Speed there, almost showing off his name once again with that nice little long range across the field, almost going in with nobody there to defend.
But as you were trying to ask me, I feel like if there are that many opportunities given to Green Knights with nobody back towards the net, just wide open, or to the Centaurs, I mean, the Centaurs will simply just put it into the back of the net. But they've been struggling to get some good counterattacks against Green Knights, who've been going for more passing plays than direct shots. Ooh, that might have been one there, but Untitled blocked it from his teammate. instead. And it really depends on if the Green Knights can get a passing play or if the Green Knights push up too much and the Centaurs get a counterattack is how I feel it's going to end.
Yeah, I mean, compared to last season, the Centaurs are playing, I would say, a lot more defensively than they normally would. They played a lot of aggression. Even though they always had Crazy MS in the back, there would always be two pretty much on the other side of the field at all times.
Yeah, but now it's just like one person being sent up. They aren't really coordinating as well as they were before. That also is due to them having 2 new players. That could also be another factor as well as... Oh, no. I was thinking that would get saved, but instead Teko's demos airspeed, but it's too late as it flies right past him into the net.
He gives it an attempt there, and he gets the demolish there, but the ball does go in, and at the end of the day, that's the point of the game. So the first round is going to go to the Centaurs.
What a way to win it in overtime, too. It's getting close to like another game being played. It was so back and forth as well. I expected it to be a lot more one-sided for the Centaurs, but that really shows how new players changes the game completely. Just gonna list off the ranks for each of these players. Crazy MS is a champ 1, Airspeed's a champ 2, and Baba Baggins is gold 3. So it's a little different. We saw a full champ team last time, so Baba Baggins might be not used to playing the same speed. Yeah.
And on the side of the Green Knights, Untitled is plat 2, Pogo is gold 3, and Teko's is presumably somewhere in champ, but we're not 100% sure on that one.
Gotcha. Well, he's been proving to be a pretty high-ranked player so far with the skill he's showcased and able to go toe-to-toe with his opponents. And I feel like that's an upgrade to last season for the Green Knights. They only had like platinums at most from what I remember. So at least having like one person who has that kind of experience playing in ranked and playing like 3s at that competitive level, it helps so much.
Yeah, no, it really does help at that point. And again, now we're waiting to get into this next round. And like you were saying, compared to last season, it does have it's useful on both a gameplay level and I would say a practicing level, right? Scrimming and things, having a champion player, being able to look at things. Of course, you should have a coach, but it never hurts having more experienced players trying to give you some tips as well.
Of course, especially when you're practicing together. If they scrim against the other teams that are competing in EGFH, just helps that much more to get that experience, get the practice with your teammates.
Yeah.
As we saw, the Notre Dame Green Knights didn't change their roster too much. They just had 1 new player come in. So they have 2 players who already have that kind of synergy going for them.
Yeah, and then, of course, with the Centaurs, you have 2 new players. So Crazy MS is the only one played last season. And again, and this happens every season, right? The teams start off kind of maybe not coordinated. Maybe they're not practicing as much as they should. They start to get into it, the spirit a bit more, and we just see a massive improvement from week 1 to week 8.
So true. It's just that experience they get from playing in this kind of a league where they play against opponents who are all going to high school as well. They get that experience every week playing against someone and practicing where they might not have had as organized play before. So it's just a completely different mindset that they have to be in when they're playing ranked compared to actually playing in a team and playing in the league.
Yeah, no, exactly. And with Untitled there just sitting in his goal just in case, didn't want any early, just cheeky little shots going in. Again, him saving it once again, getting it into about the midfield there. Speed's not going to be able to find it, bouncing it over, and he's looking for the aerial, but he isn't going to be able to find it in time, followed by Tekos, and it looks Crazy MS saving it there.
That was a close one. Crazy MS almost had another opportunity there. But they're being a lot more active than they were in the first game. Going for more shots, having more possession so far, passing it in between each other. Haven't really seen too much of the Green Knights in the first minute of this play. As last game, we already had I think we had 3 goals at this point.
Yeah, we did have 3 goals at this point.
Of a game compared to the last one.
Yeah, by the point this time, Green Knights had 2 and Centaurs were only on their single goal. So both teams now kind of read each other out maybe a little bit more, deciding to play even more defensively than they were, try and keep less or have less opening show in their defense, whilst Still trying to find some goals. Teko's getting a nice little aerial there, and he is going to be able to get it past airspeed. But again, Crazy MS just sitting in that goal, playing that defensive role there. We saw him playing last season as well, and he's good at it, you know? He manages to find a lot. He manages to save a lot of goals.
It always pays off to have a champ level player in your back pocket, just to be guarding your net, making sure that he could save any crazy plays the opponents might go for. And it paid off last season, as you mentioned. One thing to note as well is that Baba Baggins is actually the sub for the Centaurs. Their regular player is a Diamond 3, so they're not even at their full potential in this game. So you've got to watch out if you face off against them later on in the season if you're any of the other teams competing.
Yeah, I mean, even right now though, we're seeing Baba Baggins. There's not been, and maybe I haven't seen it too much, but there's been quite a few double commitments from Crazy MS and airspeed. But again, unlike last season, there isn't as many triple, and nobody in the goal there. Baba Baggins is, I believe, that's now his second or third goal for the Centaurs. Second, yeah, his second goal for the Centaurs with airspeed, of course, finding that first. So I mean, sub or not, he's showing his worth here.
Well, depending on how the series goes, they might want to just keep him as a permanent role on their roster and see how the other players fare.
He's performing well, and by the follow-up by airspeed there with the setup from Baba Baggins, he's going to be able to find another goal.
And this is where the floodgates have just opened. Baba Baggins with a perfect shot towards net, baited out Untitled. He had to make the save there. An airspeed swept in and swept up that goal for his team. Now 2-0, strongest lead we have seen so far.
Yeah, no, it has been. Well, this is the strongest lead, and again, we were just talking about him proving his worth and setting that up for airspeed. There was not much room to fail there. Crazy MS
a little longer than last time as well.
Yeah. But again, Crazy MS pushing up a bit further than he normally does. Teko's pushing out from goal, leaving it undefended, but at the moment, the way the ball's going, it doesn't look too important. Untitled's going to be able to find that goal. So unfortunate on the replay here. We're going to see airspeed try to save it and just not be there in time.
Yeah, so airspeed hit that one back, was thinking one of his teammates would get there in time. You see him, what a saving in chat, as Crazy MS tried to recuperate from that one, get the ball in possession, missed the touch though, and then they were able to score after that. Almost saw one there again, but a very risky double commit by the Green Knights.
Yeah, Tekos is going to be able to save that one. Again, airspeed showing off his name. He's hitting plenty of aerials there, and I'd say they're consistently going where he wants them to go.
One thing to note about this game compared to the last one is that the Green Knights have just been stuck in their end more often than not. They had some crazy offensive pressure last time, and that really suffocated the options for the Centaurs. But now they haven't really had too many shots compared to the last game. They have 4. But we haven't seen much out of Pogo Logo. We haven't seen anything, actually. 0 points on the scoreboard. Hasn't really contributed too much in this game. And if he steps it up, they might be able to even things up instead. Untitled with a great touch. Tekos will knock that in, though. So now it's tied up.
Yeah, and that was a lovely little aerial dribble here on the replay. We're going to see it from Untitled. And Teko's just right behind. He played it slow just in case it didn't work out, and it paid out for him, and he managed to find another goal, bringing it to 2-2 with 48 seconds left on the clock.
So it doesn't even seem like they need Pogo Logo at this point. You can just be a supporting player.
Yeah, but Pogo's playing in the defense, right? He is playing that supportive role when he needs to, and he's trying to find something when he can, but unfortunately, he's not finding many options with how they're playing. It always goes just over him or just under him.
True, true. Pogo being the lowest rank on this team as well might be one of the factors why he isn't as confident going for the same shots, and airspeed will take advantage of that lack of confidence, sneak it past him, and secure the goal.
Yeah, like we were just saying about that lack of confidence, Pogo just missing the ball as airspeed takes no prisoners there and just takes it right in, bringing it to 3-2. So hopefully now we should I'd like it to go into overtime. I feel like the games will feel a bit more tense when they go into
I'm
overtime.
always wishing for overtimes. If
Yeah,
we could have
I mean, both
every
teams.
game go to overtime, that'd be amazing. I don't think the
Uh,
players would like it as much, though.
No, but we enjoy casting it, so
I'm
swings
sure
and
the viewers
roundabouts
like
here.
watching it too.
Exactly. Again, the game doesn't end until the ball touches the ground on this final second, so anybody can find a goal, but as I say that, the ball touches the ground.
Jinxed it a little bit.
Yeah. But that's going to be game 2 going to the Centaurs.
One more needed, and then they get the 3-0 victory against the Green Knights and sets them up pretty nicely going into the remaining weeks of the season.
Yeah.
So what do you really think the Green Knights can do to kind of improve? They looked so good in the first one. They got it to overtime. But after losing that one, it kind of felt like they fell apart.
I think Pogo Logo needs to be able to find his position in the team, right? Because right now it's Untitled and Tecos, back and forth. They're finding goals, they're finding openings. But Pogo just, and maybe this is just me, Pogo just seems a little bit lost. And maybe that's due to a lack of communication and coordination from the team.
It could be. Could be. We'll just have to see what happens in the next game, if the Centaurs will complete the sweep or if the Green Knights can keep themselves in this series. They would have to win 3 games back-to-back to get the victory over top of the Centaurs. As I think we had someone disconnect. One of the issues that happened with one of the updates is we can't see the chat to see what the players were saying as to why that might happen. So I guess we could talk about the Centaurs and the Green Knights, how they've played the past 2 games. The Centaurs, I feel like that first game was more just like a warm-up for them. And then after they got into the rhythm, they were able to show us what we're used to seeing.
And we kind of saw them, it felt a bit messy at the start, where they weren't exactly sure who was playing what role. They communicated, they got it together, and they were performing well. And on the side of the Green Knights, I still feel like they're at that process, right? They're trying to figure out who goes where and what. And if it is a communication issue, that's down to the entirety of the team. Because if, as you were saying, Pogo is the lowest ranked player, but at the same time, if the higher ranked players are kind of dismissive towards him and not communicating towards
that's
him,
always an issue, man.
but that's exactly it. That could cause issues. And if they're not practicing as much as maybe we thought they were because they had that really strong start, but now the more we see them play, the more we're realizing only 2 of them are really getting chances to shine. That it could be a communication issue. There could have been a lack of practice. There's so many reasons that could be a thing, but it does feel at the moment like it's a coordination issue.
Yeah,
It could also,
that was one of the main issues that happened last time as well.
yeah. All right. And now, whilst we get somebody back, we're going to cut it, take a little break whilst everything gets ready for game 3. So we'll be back soon. We're back. We just found out that unfortunately one of the players from the Green Knights had to drop out for this match due to an emergency. So it will be the Woodstock Centaurs taking that 3rd victory. So they will go 3-0 this week. And hopefully next week everything will be fine. We will be sorted and moving through to that next game. And I just wanted to, end it with a bit of a commentary here, Nick, on what you thought about those first 2 games and what you kind of expect to see improve.
So I thought that the Notre Dame Green Knights looked way better than they did the first season in that first game. They had a lot of issues last season where they didn't have too much coordination. We saw them going for more passes this time instead, and that worked out so well for them. They were able to be more aggressive. They had more confidence in themselves. We saw more out of Pogo Logo in that first game. But then after they lost, they kind of started doubting themselves, and you can't afford to do that in these kind of series. A long best of 5 every game, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. If you lose that one, you got to refresh your mindset, be like, okay, we might have lost, but we still have more chances, and move on from that. So hopefully they could take that and run with it in the rest of the season, learn from that kind of a mistake, just keep themselves in the zone, pump themselves up even after losing a close overtime, because that was the closest game we've seen between the Green Knights and the Centaurs, even though the Centaurs were playing with a sub. But
Yeah.
going to the Centaurs real quick, their sub looked pretty good. So I'd be even more worried this season than last season if their regular player, who's a Diamond 3, is even better than that.
Yeah, and hopefully we get to see more of Baba Baggins because he was playing extremely well, and it was kind of the opposite end of the spectrum where I think after that first game, the Centaurs started communicating and figuring it out a lot faster. So with their diamond player, who presumably they've practiced with a lot more, I'd be terrified.
Oh yeah, exactly. So definitely have to watch out. Make sure everyone practices as much as they can. I can't reiterate on that point enough, just because of how important it is to get used to playing your teammates, and also scrimming. Scrimming helps a lot, playing against the other competitors in the league when it's not a broadcast day and not actually a league match. So that way you can get some more results and know where you have to fix. Watch your replays as well. Save the replays from all your matches. Go back, watch them with your team. Pick out the points where you thought you could have improved on, and then work on those. And that'll help you later on the season as well.
Yeah, and I mean I agree with all of those tips, and that goes for any esports game, I'd say.
True,
And
true.
And with all of that, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the beginning of the season. Of course, the Woodstock Academy Centaurs taking the victory. You can follow us at Official EGF on Twitter and Twitch for updates and announcements. This season, of course, wouldn't be possible without the support from our sponsors, the Yukon Gaming Club, the Yukon School of Engineering, and Mob Crush. I have been Cavan Navik Dignan, and you can find me at Cavan Dignan on Twitter. And Nick, would you like to?
Yeah, I've been Nick Vaudible Ambrozic, and you can find me at Vaudible, Vodible. It's like Audible, but with Vod at the beginning. And thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you all next week.